Hello, good morning. My name is James Spiro and I'm at the Roadshow Plus event brought to you by Calcalist and Poalim Tech. I'm joined now with Yodfat Harel Buchris, Managing Partner at Blumberg Capital, Kobi Samboursky, Co-Founder and Managing Partner at Glilot Capital Partners, Adi Hoorvitch-Lavi, VP of Investments and Growth at Poalim Tech, and Emanuel Timor, General Partner at Vertex Ventures. Folks, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
I'd like to discuss with you a bit about the industry and more specifically about how we can overcome some of the challenges that we're facing as an industry and also as a country. I'd like to start with you, Adi. I'd like you to give kind of briefly an overview as to where you find us at the moment and some of the insights you can share with us today, please.
Okay, so at Poalim Tech, we have a wide perspective of what's going on in the ecosystem. From that, we give credit facilitation, MR line, venture lending to startups from all stages, as well as invest in leading VCs in Israel. And we find it, especially for early stage startups, challenging times as a lot of the startups are having difficulties to raise funding and also being recruited. So that doesn't help much with growing your startups. And that's why we are having this event actually, so we can continue on no matter what. And I think this is the message here today. And what we are all experiencing, it's hard to wake up in the morning, but we have to be resilient, tenacious, and have a lot of self-efficacy in what we can do in order to assist the ecosystem growth.
No, that's amazing, Adi. Thank you. I'm going to come to you now, Kobi, because you're holding the microphone. So I don't know if that's lucky or unlucky for you. I don't know. If you have anything to add about maybe from an investment point of view, what some of the things you're seeing, what can you add to that? Where are we at the moment?
It's actually a good time now to summarize this year, 2023, and it's not been an easy year, to be honest. I think first the economical climate was not easy, was not good for startups all over the world, and now with the October 7th event, obviously, not easy times, but we're trying to push very hard on what Adi mentioned before. No matter what, I think it's a great initiative that pushes the strength of the Israeli ecosystem and the fact that we continue to deliver no matter what. And I think it's super important. This is actually what's going on. What I like to when I'm speaking with my portfolio companies, I'm saying, business is not as usual. I don't feel anything as usual. I think all of us have gone through a major change in October 7th, but in terms of the business, we're pushing on as if nothing happened, even stronger. We just came back from Glilot Capital. We just came back from a tour in 3 major cities in the States with most of the portfolio companies. Again, pushing forward the business, pushing forward our activities, continuing to invest, continuing to do business for our company. So I think for us, continuing to push business is super important for us, not just personally, but also for the entire ecosystem. And I think no matter what initiative, and also next October, which is another great initiative, the idea is pushing the ecosystem very, very strong, even the fact that most of us are heartbroken and all the situation that's around us.
No, it's very difficult, and also because it's an ongoing experience, and I think the relationship that the rest of the world has looking into Israel may not understand that October 7 wasn't just a day, but it's the start of an era that Israel and the ecosystem seems to be in. Emanuel, I'd like to come to you now. Now you're holding the microphone. What would you like to add in terms of what you see from Vertex Ventures and maybe some of the relationships of investments overseas? What does that look like? How has it changed?
For us at Vertex, what we see is very similar to what you've heard from Adi and Kobi. The earlier stage the company is, the more difficult it is for it, and the higher scale and more mature the company is, it's more about we need to make it happen. It should be business as usual. We need to meet all our business targets. And this is what we are also advocating to our friends and colleagues from abroad, that yes, these are challenging times for Israel. We were surprised, they were surprised, and it took us a few weeks where, in a way, productivity went down. No one cared about developing or writing codes for the first 2 weeks. 20% of the team is either in reserved service or their partners to life are in reserved service. So there is a challenge you need to overcome. But yes, we are doing whatever we can. And in a way, the spirit of Intel, which is to say we never missed a shipment to Israel, of Israel, this is our message. No matter what, the Israeli tech and our companies will perform. And the view of tech in any case is long term. When we invest in startups in the early days, the exit may be 10, 15 years later. So it's a very long term perspective. And if you look at it from this point of view, then it's an easier kind of way to accept what's happening here.
Okay, thank you. Yodfat, I'm going to come to you now, and then I'm going to let anyone else chip in afterwards if they wish. What are some of the ways that Israel can restore some of the global trust in the ecosystem? Obviously, challenging, uncertain times bring difficult times for investment. What are some of the ways that Israel can renew some of that?
So, first of all, I don't think that the trust was harmed, okay, as Emanuel just mentioned, and so is Kobi. And the fact that they took all their portfolio companies for a roadshow in the US shows that we are continuing on. We are delivering, we are performing, despite the fact that 20%, as Emanuel mentioned, are at service at the moment, but still we have the responsibility to actually serve our customers and make the best ever performance for our LPs. I think at the other side of the war, when everything will be done and over, and it will, we will find better founders, we will find better companies, and we will find better results. And I can assure you that the vintage of 2024 will be the best vintage ever.
Oh, I'd love to hear more about that and as we look into 2024. And you both have the mic, so I'll let one of you take that. Maybe you can add on that, maybe looking ahead.
So you talked about 2024. I believe that even though these are challenging times, people understand that we live only once, and they will, after the war, after they come back from being drafted and from the war, they will definitely seek to fulfill themselves and will open new startup. New startup will be founded. We need to make sure that we have an ecosystem that supports that, with foreign funds coming in, the government giving a hand, all of us doing what we can to support this. But I really believe in the Israeli entrepreneur characteristics, and I'm sure that we will see new amazing startups also in 2024 and in the following years.
And to me, when I look back at history, I think there are two events that we can learn from. One is COVID, it happened actually quite recently. And I think what we saw there is that very quickly people started to work even harder than in regular times. And I think we're seeing this in portfolio companies. So people are working hard, focusing on work, mostly maybe because there are not too many other things to do. You don't really hang out, you don't go for vacations. And then another piece of history, I was a young entrepreneur at September 11 in Manhattan. And to me, there are a lot of similarities. And I think for those who've been able to continue push their businesses, this was actually, looking back, a good opportunity, because companies that did make it back then became very, very big till today. So I think whoever continues to push hard, for them, it's actually an opportunity to build strong businesses. And as Yodfat said, I think the companies that are starting right now and are pushing forward right now will be even better than the companies that started 2021. We just completed a few investments. We're very eager to continue to invest in the Israeli ecosystem, and I think so are many others.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you. And it's very optimistic to hear that side of things, even though it's somewhat bittersweet, because this generation of founders have so many challenges to overcome in such a short space of time. Emanuel, I want to come to you because you're holding the mic ready to go. What about, I want to kind of help you elaborate, what about next year? What else can we see? What about these early stage startups? What are some of the things they can look out for as they enter 2024 in this different climate?
So I think for early stage startups, for seed, when you're starting a company, the best founders are out there looking for new ideas, doing their ideation, and for them, more or less, it's, I think, business as usual. They will do the regular process to start a company, and the way we see it, echoing what was just said by Adi Kobi, the best founders are out there, and I think they will find out that there is a lot of investors who are looking to invest in those companies, and in a way, eager to invest after slowing down the pace of investment in second part of 22 and during 23. For early stage startups, that's the more challenging group because they don't have enough proof that the business can go all the way. And in a way, it's an issue of needing some support from the government. But there is a triage. There's probably a quarter of that group which is going to have easy life because they have that enough traction to go out there and fundraise and to generate that magical moment when you have 3 customers and then you can grow them to 10 and then you grow them to 40, and those companies are going to have, as usual, easier life. And all the rest are going to struggle a bit. They need to convey again that the vision is big enough to raise their A round. Again, so for them, I think it's going to be more challenging, not only because of the war, and I would say much less because of the war and more because of the correction in the market which started in early 22 and is something that accompanying our ecosystem and is going to have a major effect on the following year and the one afterward.
Yeah, it's true. There are so many different variables that we're facing as we leave 2023. I wouldn't dare put any of you in the position of trying to predict anything, but if you want
just to continue something that Emanuel said, and it's so true, you will see that after the war, the founders will be even more eager to change the world. And the ideas that we will see will not be features anymore and small ideas. We will see big changing events. And we are really looking forward to welcome these founders and to invest in them and to actually change the world together with them. If we learn something about the war, and I think it was a great reminder for all our founders, is that it's a team effort. Okay, we are seeing 20% of our companies that have been called for duty. All the others that remain in the company are filling in. So the team effort is building stronger companies, and this is what we'll see in 24, 25. And the ideas will be much bigger and more significant to the world.
I can add on Yodfat that actually one of the 18 startups that was supposed to present today are drafted, and all 3 co-founders cannot be here today. Therefore, we asked them, what do you want to do? We're going to put you on Zoom, video, whatever, and said, we are so excited to be here. We can't be here physically, but we will be glad to give a video or something, because no matter what, we are continue our startups, even though we are drafted. So I believe we were very optimistic, all of us, about what's going to be in 2024 and ahead. And we need to see that now, when we are like in December 2023, all the soldiers and entrepreneurs are doing what they need to make their startup grow. They don't wait. They don't wait till after the war. They don't wait for 2024. Now is the time, and they are delivering. And we see it today.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, speaking from personal experience, I've spoken to founders on the phone, and they've said, sorry, I have to step out. I'm on base right now. God, okay. And I know that also translates to investors overseas, and they really identify the resilience seen in Israeli founders to balance both of those things. I want to touch on something now that has been mentioned briefly, which is the government role in all of this. What is the role of the government in this situation for Startup Nation, and what can be expected on both sides to help steer the ship? And that question is directed at all of you, but whoever wants to go first is welcome to. But yeah, please.
So I think there's 2 ways to look at it. One, let the market do its magic and stuff, and in a way, if government intervene, then you make mistakes sometimes, and you give money to places which are not don't really need it. But I think that this is a special moment because 2 trends have kind of come together. One, the correction in the market, and second, the war, which does slow down processes. So I think the concept of having the government supporting in 2 ways, startups and probably also investing in the fund themselves as the channel to make the rational decision into which companies should be supported. I think that dual approach makes a lot of sense and is needed for today. And I think that the way the government is structuring it, saying we will invest in companies. We'll do it in a relatively fast process. We want investors to do matching, and in this way, the market indicates which of the companies that should get that support. I think that's a very smart initiative, and I think the most important thing is to do it fast, kind of to be as less bureaucratic and as efficient as possible, because there's a time issue for some companies. The early stage one need that funding fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to come this way, if I may, and do somewhat of a sweeping line. So after you, Adi, I want some final comments from you, please. This will be our final. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. So please, after you, any advice in terms of the government or any way we can moving forward?
I think other than the government, we see also private funds, venture funds that are want to assist startups that have only 6 months to live. And I think all of these initiatives from the government, also the private ones, are the ones that are going to assist our startup nation growth. Each of us needs to think every day what he can do to assist this. I would be glad to see more and more foreign funds from abroad, of course, because we know it is 70% of the funding is coming from there, and that we all need to be directed to them to think what we're going to do to bringing in, to show them that we are open and we need their assistance and we can deliver. So I think all the assistance that we can give from the government and Israeli funding won't be enough. We need also the foreign ones, otherwise we're going to have a challenge.
Thank you very much. We have 1 minute left, unfortunately. So Kobi and Yodfat, any final comments about what next, the government role, private investors, anything you want to add?
So I have to admit myself, I'm not a big believer in government, interference. I think the amazing thing about the Israeli ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, that we've been able to do a lot of things by ourselves. And I think one of the most hard-moving things in what happened since October is the contribution of the high-tech ecosystem to the effort. To me, it's really hard-moving, and I think we'll continue to do that. And it's mostly on us to deliver and to continue to push hard. As I said before, I'm very optimistic. Again, this is heartbreaking times, but I just looking at what entrepreneurs are doing, looking at what my colleagues are doing in all fronts, pushing business and helping communities in the south, helping soldiers. I think it's really amazing, and I think looking back, 5, 6, 10 years from now, as Yodfat mentioned before, this is going to be a great vintage. And for us, we continue to work hard, we continue to invest, not just because it's the right thing to do, because it's the smart thing to do. This is us.
Thank you. We're running out of time. Yodfat, final
Do
comments.
it really, really quickly.
Yeah, please.
So the government should encourage foreign investors to invest in the market. Second, they should encourage the institutional investor in Israel to invest more in startups. And third, not to interfere too much.
Not to interfere. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yodfat, Kobi, Adi, Emanuel, thank you so much. It's obviously been a very challenging 2023. Here's to a more resilient and positive and optimistic 2024. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.